Rowlands.
I thank the Cabinet Secretary for his statement, and can I say UKIP Wales welcomes many aspects of this legislation, in particular that the Government is making the scheduling process for monuments and buildings more open and accountable. We also welcome the proposal to put owners and occupiers at the heart of the consultation process, with a right to request a review of a decision by the planning inspectorate. Would the Cabinet Secretary confirm that this appeal process will be independently assessed? And again, we take note and support the research commissioned into the complex challenges presented by decaying listed buildings. In this regard, can the Cabinet Secretary please confirm that this research will take into account the views of non-specialists and local opinion, as well as stakeholders and local authorities? You've also mentioned in your statement your intention to set up the statutory register of historic parks, and you have given us earlier on some timeline with regard to that. But can you also tell us what protection these historic parks will have until that register is in place?
Yes, can I thank the member for his contribution and his questions. I agree that it's vital that the consent regime for scheduling monuments and listing buildings is transparent, it's open to scrutiny, and that it's transparent. And for that reason, we've endeavoured to make sure that those who could be affected by scheduling of a monument or the listing of a building do have the ability to seek a review. Now, it's absolutely essential in turn, as the member outlined, that that review process is independent, and so for that reason we would expect the planning inspector to make a decision in the case of a review to ensure that there is independence and that there is a safe separation of responsibilities from CADU. In terms of the consultation on further work that is going to be undertaken as concerned, I think I outlined in my statement that I believe that we need to consult as widely as possible across the sector, and that includes not just experts but also people who could be affected. I think it's absolutely vital that owners and occupiers of historic buildings have an opportunity to contribute to the debate, discussion and ultimately to legislation if it should be brought forward. And in terms of gardens and parks, the list of historic gardens and historic parks and gardens, we believe there are nearly 400 of these across Wales. The work that's taken place to date has involved a huge number of owners and occupiers. The aim of the list is to ensure that we have a substantial and exhaustive historic record of all parks and gardens in Wales. Enforcement is a more difficult issue for us to deal with, because often enforcement cannot be delivered in a way that is full and fair for owners, given that historic parks and gardens are susceptible to climatic change, where they may not be responsible for incidents or for the degradation of a park or a garden. This was something that was considered in enforcement regime and protection, but it was thought that to be too difficult to manage in a similar way to the proposals for legal protection for historic place names. Actually making sure that something is proportionate and deliverable is essential, but with regards to historic parks and gardens, it was thought that such action may not be deliverable.